Hello, it's nice to see you all today. So I have a question for you. Have you ever woken up from a strange dream and wondered if that dream had any meaning? Well, I'm going to tell you today that it does have meaning, and I'm going to tell you why. So to start off, the famous Austrian neurologist Sigmund Freud, I'm sure you've heard of him, he has a theory called the dream analysis theory. And in this theory, he says while our conscious minds slumber, our unconscious minds produce images that can give us special insight into our deepest selves. So that dream you just had can have encrypted messages on who we are and the events that have happened to us in the past. So now I'm not a professional on this topic and about dreams, and I don't feel like I'm very qualified to speak on this topic. However, I am majoring in psychology and I have done a vast amount of research on this topic and on dreams. So, and I feel like I know more about dreams than the average person does. So I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to speak on this topic and to speak to you all today about this topic. So I'm gonna just tell you my three main points and theories in this speech that lead me to believe that dreams do have meaning. And those 3 points would include the dream analysis theory by Sigmund Freud that I mentioned earlier, and the threat simulation theory of dreaming, which is another theory on dreams, and just the fact that dreams are part of the cognition process. So now to begin, the threat simulation theory of dreaming, or TST, states that dream consciousness is essentially an ancient biological defense mechanism, evolutionary selected for its capacity to repeatedly simulate threatening events. So these dreams, they simulate events that can happen to you in the future. And so a hypothesis drawn from this theory states that the real events that happen to the person while they are awake lead to an increased frequency and severity of threatening events in your dreams, which means that your dreams do have meaning. So no matter, like, based on the events that have happened to you in the past and their severity, those reflect on your dreams and the severity of your dreams. So in relation to the threat simulation theory, it is a fact that dreams are part of the cognition process. And so what is the cognition process? What is the cognitive perspective? So from a cognitive perspective, dreams express people's conceptions, which are also the basis for action in the waking world. So dreams are a dramatic and perceptible embodiment of schemas, scripts, and general knowledge. So they are like plays that the mind stages for itself when it doesn't have anything specific to do. So your dreams are like plays when it doesn't have anything to do, when you're just sleeping. So there have been numerous studies that display that the level of intensity and concern your dreams are reflected and are related to level of intensity and concern in your waking real life. So like I mentioned earlier, if you'd had some pretty severe events in the past that will reflect in your dreams, and that will cause you to have more severe dreams. And now the famous Sigmund Freud, like I mentioned earlier, he has a theory called the dream analysis theory. And he has some great points in this theory that I personally agree with. So the self-organization theory of dreaming proposes that the sleeping brain is a self-organizing system that can combine discontinuous and incongruous neuronal signals, so like different elements of dreams, for an example, into a relatively continuous narrative during your sleep. So his theory also says that dreams reflect your physiological and psychological activities like your memory, consolidation, and emotion regulation. And now these 3 points that I mentioned, they just lead me to believe that dreams do have a meaning. So now whenever I wake up from a strange dream, I think about these theories and the fact that dreams are part of the cognitive process, and I wonder about my dream and I try to decipher what it means. So just when it comes to Sigmund Freud's dream theory of the threat simulation theory, or just like I mentioned earlier, it's part of the cognition process. It shows that dreams do have meaning. And now, the next time you wake up from a dream, I want you to think of these points that I mentioned, and I want you to know that your dream does have meaning to it, and you should try and think about and figure out what your dream meant.